Hello and welcome back to the second installment for the Legends of Nintendo series, where we'll see the Temple of Time and the Market Town get put in place. Not before I butcher the downstairs of the castle with a monorail though. First off, I'm going to apologise for the late upload. I'm sure there's thousands of you who are itching to see this, but sadly, being an adult husband is time consuming. Second, I want to give my channel's first shout out to Jack. You knew who you are, and I really appreciate the mic boom. It's making the voiceovers and editing a dream. Anyway, you've probably noticed I'm reconfiguring the castle a little bit here because I had to extend the top bit to accommodate for the station that we built last week. Well, not last week, 2 weeks ago, considering last week there was no video. And I'm also just neatening the roof up a little bit so it's all nice and smooth. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to build the entrance and exit at some point when I've finished faffing about with this. Right, so here we are. I'm just going to start messing about trying to get the entrance steps. The paths in this game can be quite awkward just to get them to do exactly what you want, especially when you've got a pre-built structure like this one that I have. Just trying to work it out the best path for the path to go, I suppose, if you will. I end up pulling it out a bit further and spiralling down and then going back in through the bottom level. And I also delete all those stupid hotel rooms, considering this isn't a hotel anymore, it's actually a ride. But I've edited that out because, to be honest, that's quite a boring and tedious part of the video, if I'm being honest. Yeah, just a little bit of terraforming as well doing here. Because the supports for the station were intruding down below, so you can't really get rid of those unless you sort of give them a foundation. So I've just got like this floating rock terraform up in the area now, just to basically stop the track supports coming right down to the bottom, so we could have a little bit more space down below for anything. I don't know, maybe another ride can go from the bottom. We can see just the supports there at the back. That's what I was trying to get rid of with that floating terraform. So now we're just going to make the back end for the, I think that's the exit, for the exit to come out. Oh, that was a bit weird. That happens sometimes. It's very bizarre. So now I'll start off building an archway, but I'm not really happy because it's not central. So I end up changing that and have little bits so it almost looks like the back of the wall's broken. But even now I'm not 100% sure whether I'm going to keep that. I might just extend the castle building out a bit so that it just still looks like part of the castle rather than the castle's broken. But I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it's just a quick and easy fix for now. So I'm just pulling the broken bits of the castle up in a minute and get rid of that. We don't want that anymore, and then we're just going to put these broken bits so it kind of looks like the wall's been blown open or whatever. So I was initially trying to just get it to spiral straight down, but obviously that's breaking into the little bit back at the back, so I ended up just bringing it all the way down. And then I do the same with the ride entrance. I have the ride entrance breaking out and then pretty much going to the same place. Paths are a bit finicky, but more on that later on. I'll probably go back and fix them. I just wanted to get the initial layout sorted so that we had some form of way to get up to the ride. now I'm just creating a floor, because this is going to be where I'm going to put a bit of a food court. So rather than having it just all path, I'm sort of creating it so that it looks like the actual floor of the castle, because they won't be able to walk on this, even though it will kind of look like they can. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a grid for the actual path to go on. It'll be sunk just below the floor that I've put in. So, and I'm going to do the same on the very bottom level as well, just so that it looks a bit more realistic. You're not just walking on a path that doesn't match the actual castle. Just hide the bits where it's poking out. Now the monorail. This is where I completely mess up. It just looks an absolute mess. I thought it would have been a really good idea to have the monorail come through the bottom of the castle, but it turns out the monorail station is huge and it really doesn't fit. So I started deleting the walls in preparation for it, and then as you'll see, it really, I mean, the fact that it comes in through the side really doesn't help. And then I had a real tough time trying to actually place the damn monorail station, so it was half in, half out, and it just looked an absolute mess. And later on in the video you'll see I actually go back and, well, I've actually deleted the monorail and I'm there having to rebuild the bits of the castle that I initially deleted. So I think I'm going to, when I've put the castle moating outside the front of the market town, I'm just going to have a water transport ride, so that it'll kind of fit the theme a bit more as well, because you'll come down the front of the market town, then you'll be able to disembark there, and you'll be able to walk up and then back through across the drawbridge, which I think will look a lot nicer than sort of like a modern style monorail ride. I don't know what I was doing then with the floor. That seemed a bit strange why I'm deleting the floor there. No, I remember now. I was deleting the floor so that I could have some way to access the upper level, which you can tell there's not a lot of room going on right now, so making these paths would have been quite tricky. But again, I deleted the monorail, so it made things a lot easier, and I managed to just have everything perfect to come straight out the front door there. Like I said, this used to be a hotel as well at the bottom, but I deleted all that. You can see one of the rooms just there at the back if you look really closely that I'm about to delete, because this is going to be a castle full of things rather than a place for you to sleep. So I'm not 100% sure what to do on the bottom level now that I've deleted the monorail. I don't think there's enough room to fit a small ride in there, but maybe we'll work something out. Cause like I say, the food court's going to be on the first level, so the ground level's kind of up for grabs. So if anyone's got any ideas that they think I could try and squeeze in there, let me know in the comments, and you can sort of help me build the park as well, rather than it just being all down on me. That's it, lazy YouTubing. You help me make my content. Oh, and again, I don't know what the hell I was doing here. I was going to try and bring it out the front, but then it just, there's all these tiny little intricate bits, and then I think I just so yeah, this castle's been a real hack job right now. I mean, it's got a bit of the tower missing, it's got the walls missing from the sides. It was just a bad idea. This is why it's always good and then these bloody people are stuck, and it turns out they're not stuck because of anything to do with the floor. They're stuck because they can't get out of the building. They want to go to the monorail so they can get away, but they can't because there's no path. So they sort of just jump around with their hands in the airs like they just don't care. So now the monorail's being deleted, and I am now going to start reconstructing the castle that I butchered. This is quite a good, this sort of shows how much customization can go on in this game. It's quite awkward because the way the person designed the castle, instead of using straight walls, they'd use these sort of like half octagon, if that's the right word, pentagon, whatever they are. Basically, they're not just a straight wall, and they've used that to create the edges for the walls, and it's quite awkward, to be quite honest. And again, this, even just trying to make something that's already there, it just doesn't want to fit in the right place, so it is quite awkward making the buildings from scratch, which is why I've chosen something so big, just to take a blueprint from the Steam store for this game, which I don't think there's anything wrong with, to be honest. I mean, the guy who did this has put a lot of work and effort into it, and it looks incredible, to be quite honest. So again, I'm just going to start cleaning the bottom floor up. I think I replaced those, but only after I've sort of rectified the mess up in the first place. So now I'm just building the walls up so there's no rough edges pointing on the inside. Just sort of make everything look a bit neater, as you would expect to find inside a castle. Just while I'm doing this, I want to just let you know about the next upcoming videos. Obviously there was no stream this week due to work. I'm currently on the night shift, but I'm hoping next Wednesday I'll be able to get back on my stream. But since there was no stream this week, there'll be 2 video uploads this week. So for Tuesday, I've done a video reenactment of me building my PC in a game called PC Building Simulator. I did actually want to film the process of me building my PC, as it was the first time I'd ever done anything like this, but as you'll see in the reenactment video, it didn't quite go according to plan. So by the time I'd sorted the little mishaps, I suppose you could call them, I was not in the mood for doing any recording of the footage, because I actually wanted to test the components worked first before doing the videoing, and then obviously you'll see in the video what actually happened. The second video is a demo of a cool little indie game called Not Harder Useless, which is on the Steam store for free right now. If you want to try that out, that's actually a pretty fun game, where it's set in a post-apocalyptic world where there's like these facehugger style aliens called parasites that are turning people into zombies, and what they're doing is when they latch onto you, they're putting you into a dream world, so you've got to differentiate between what is real and what is the dream in order to survive. It's a bit like Inception, but the full version's not out yet, and I'm actually quite looking forward to playing the full version of the game, because they have extra endings, you can go into the extra rooms. It's quite limited, the demo, as they usually are, but if you enjoy the video, I'd be more than happy to play the full version, because it's quite an interesting style of game. It's a really good indie game. I really enjoy playing the indie games because they're a bit different from the big mainstream games that everyone has. I mean, everyone's raving about that Warzone at the moment, Call of Duty. To be honest, I think it's overhyped. I mean, I know everyone's playing it, but I just don't see the appeal. I mean, there's that many different battle royales out there, it's kind of getting boring. But I mean, whatever. If you enjoy it, that's up to you, isn't it? I'm really looking forward to the game called Valorant, which is it sort of takes how do I explain it? It sort of takes elements from all the other popular first-person shoot-'ems like Counter-Strike, Overwatch, where basically you've got characters with abilities, but it has more realism of Counter-Strike, where I believe one shot to the head is usually a kill, and then a couple of shots to the body, as opposed to having like a set health amount like in Overwatch. So I'm really looking forward to Valorant. I think that's going to be my new competitive game to play. If you haven't seen that, you need to go check it out. It's supposed to be coming out in summer this year, and I am absolutely excited to hell for that. That is going to blow, well, I feel it's going to blow all the other first-person shoot-ups out of the water. It's just going to be the most played one. That's what I'm predicting anyway. I might be wrong, but I am really excited for that game. And if you're into your first-person shoot-ups, I definitely recommend going checking it out, because it looks incredible. I am not endorsed by these guys, by the way. I just think the game looks amazing. So we're nearly finished with the floor here, and I'm going to put this up, but I'm going to get rid of the railings, because obviously there would be no railings if you're inside a castle, because you can't walk through the walls. So it now just literally looks like you can just go out and walk onto the floor, which is pretty cool, I think. That's going to be the food court area, like I might have already mentioned. And now we're going to get back onto making the castle town. Not before we finish off a bit of the roller coaster. I forgot about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the area like the Chamber of... not Chamber of Secrets, that's Harry Potter. The Sage's Chamber, sorry. In the roller coaster, as you're riding around, you'll be able to get a really cool view of that. And then I'm going to encase the whole roller coaster in the rocks, so it is fully underground and submerged. I'm going to do that right now. And I think next episode we're going to do like a bit of a ride through at the beginning and a fly through of the park so far, so you can get a really good feel of what it looks like if you're even at all interested in the slightest. To be honest, I think it's starting to come together quite well, if I'm being honest. So now we'll just smooth it all out, and then I'm going to put sort of like an underground fairy fountain as well in here, so you get the nice effect of like the waterfalls as well coming off. So there's the underground fairy fountain, which the track's just going to fly through. You don't really get to see much, but it sort of just adds a little bit of an effect when you're riding the ride. You sort of go through into the fountain, you get a quick glance. The customization again in this game is really good. I mean, don't get me wrong, the fairy doesn't look perfect, but it's a lot better than what I could have done anyway. So again, I really appreciate the guys who have gone and put this effort in. I mean, it looks okay, to be quite honest, with the limited resources you would have. Excuse me. And then outside here I was going to put one of the Sheikah towers from Breath of the Wild, but it wasn't quite big enough to warrant doing it. I mean, I suppose I could have it look as though it's coming out of the ground, but I think I just settled for having like a Triforce fountain instead, which again, it's not quite as exciting. But obviously, if anyone's got any better ideas, you know, I'm all ears. Just let me know down in the comments. So now I'm just making the foundation for the market town and the Temple of Time to go in. Now, when I was doing this, again, I used a blueprint. I was initially going to use blueprints of sort of like people who made parts of the town and they made one or two of the shops, but I eventually found someone who had made the full market town and a full Temple of Time. Now in the Temple of Time, they've sort of done, you can see the animation just there, it almost looks as though Link's pulling the Master Sword out, and I think that's just again displays how much detail you can go in this game. And I'm going to have this as a bit of a, not really a museum, but like a bit of a walk-through attraction, if you will. It won't actually have a queue or anything, but I am thinking in the next episode of having a roller coaster that comes through the side of the tower and just sort of stops, and then I'm going to link all the actions up to when the roller coaster gets there, and then as it looks as though Link's pulling the sword out, it then launches you out again. I think that could be quite cool, although it might ruin the Temple of Time a bit. I'm not 100% sure yet, but there's no harm in giving it a go. We can make it work. I can just sort of extend the sides of the Temple of Time so it won't look exactly 100% like the Temple of Time anymore, but you know, it'll look good. I think it'll be interesting. So I realised I cocked up the placement with the Temple of Time as well. So because I really want to get the actual look, if you know the market town from Ocarina of Time, you'll know obviously down the side you have the steps up that goes to the Temple of Time. So I'm really trying to recreate that. So this is the blueprint that just popped up that somebody did of, I don't know what happened there with the camera. Like I say, the camera glitches out sometimes. So this is the full blueprint of the town that somebody did, and there are 2 rides in it. One of them is like a bomb chew dodgems, where the actual dodgems themselves do look like the bomb chews from Ocarina of Time. So I don't know whether that was done intentionally in the game, but it looks pretty cool. So now I'm just trying to get the terraforming right for this, because I don't want the path to sort of clip through and affect the ground. I want it to just lay on top of the ground, which can be a bit finicky sometimes. So you can see there how it's sort of like clipping up to the top, and I really don't want to get that. I want to get everything nice and smooth, which I do believe I managed to get, surprisingly, because it was quite awkward. I managed to get just the perfect level through a bit of time and a bit of patience. I mean, this, you probably look at this and think there's not a lot done, but the amount of time and effort that's gone into just doing this, even though I've not even built the buildings from scratch myself, it's still extremely time consuming. I mean, this is sped up 10 times. This is like, what, 20 minutes? So I mean, that's a lot of footage I've had to do. I'm hoping as I get better at the game, I'll be able to do things much quicker, and then I can sort of really start to get the park done. But it just takes so much time right now, and sometimes it gets really tedious, especially when you're doing the buildings. So I managed to place a Temple of Time in. I've managed to butt that right up against the back of the Chamber of Secrets, which is from Harry Potter, not Ocarina of Time. The Chamber of Sages is what I mean. And then we're going to place this, and we'll have a nice little market town. And then I think I'm just going to lay the concrete as well down, so it's all like a nice grid for the market town. And you can see the couple of rides there. There's the bomb chews. I'll do a proper fly through in the next video, because I think we're at that stage now where there's enough to look at that it actually makes worthwhile. And we'll also ride the roller coaster properly at the beginning of the next episode as well. And then it would be brilliant to hear your guys' input if you're interested. You know, give me any tips, or if you've got any ideas for anything, I'm more than happy to put them into place. Because if you guys help me with the YouTube video, it makes my hobby, because it's not a job, because I don't get paid for this, makes this hobby a lot easier making the content if I get a bit of input from you guys. Lazy YouTubing, that's what we call it. Get the ideas from your audience. But that's pretty much it for this episode. Remember, if you enjoyed, leave a like. It really helps the channel out. Subscribe as well. If you haven't seen me on Facebook, make sure you go find me on Facebook. I'll leave that in the end screen, because I'm hopefully going to be doing a few giveaways in the not too distant future, and I look forward to seeing you then.